Sales funnel analysis. Do you need it? Do you need to understand it? The answer is yes, but how do you know if you're actually reaching that benchmark of where you should be? Today we're going to be sharing the secret numbers nobody is willing to share, so you know, is your funnel working? So number one, we're going to be walking through this all in a workbook so you can see the numbers and how they all work, but I'm also going to give you this workbook at the end. So stay till the end and I'll show you how you can get this workbook for free. Hey there everybody, my name is Ben Moot. I am a sales funnel nerd. I've been doing this for almost 7 years now, building funnels for myself and for customers, helping them launch with 5-figure launches. This is what I do. It's where I live. It's where I nerd out. But it's not where I started. I started in college going to school to be an analyst. So your funnel is not going to work the first time. It's something that Russell had to remind his inner circle, people who paid $50,000 to be coached by him. The night before they launched, he had to tell them it's not going to work, and that's okay. It's going to be okay. But how do you make it work? That is where a funnel becomes a machine. That's where all this happens, but it all happens in the conversion rate optimization. Now, if you were to map out your full funnel, there are a lot of pieces in here that need optimization. So we're going to go over the terminology, and then we're going to go over specific funnel types. All right, so you're going to be able to see the first links that are down here in the description are for you to be able to jump to that point if you have a specific funnel. But if you want to be a funnel nerd and understand all this, my suggestion, stay, listen. This is going to be a value dump. Let's go ahead and jump into the stats. Now, these stats are going to be very important for you. This is like a little mini course. So if you don't get it all at once, that's fine. If you're watching at 2x speed, you might need to slow down, especially if this is your first time. You can rewatch this as many times as you want. Let's get going. The first grouping of these definitions you need to understand, I'll start with C because they all have to do with costs. This lets you know how much it's costing you in ad spend to get somebody to your funnel. Very important, so that way we can work backwards and say, well, how much are we making? So we need to understand the costs first. So here's the deal. The first group is CPM. Now CPM is cost per impressions. Now, not just one impression, 1,000 impressions. So what is the cost to get 1,000 eyes onto the ad? What does that cost specifically? All right. Now the next piece is a click-through rate. So after somebody sees the ad, they're going to click on it. So what are the clicks divided by all of the eyes that saw it? What are the click by total impressions? Okay. That's how you get your click-through rate. I'll explain why all of these are important as we move on. Next, you have your cost per click. Your cost per click is your cost divided by the clicks. Let you know how much it costs to get a lead, so that way hopefully you have an average. You can expect that moving forward if the world doesn't suddenly change or it's a holiday or something like that. Next, you have cost per lead. Okay, once again, cost divided by your total leads. These are people who opt in. So after they click on your thing, they then put in their details, say, yes, I want that thing. And we'll go through several options and versions of that. They put in their details, they become a lead. What was the cost to get a lead? Because it's less, there are less people as leads than there were as clicks. What are those costs? The last one is the cost per acquisition, or CPA. Now, it's also called cost per sale. So you could see it as CPS, but it's just cost divided by total sales. Simple. Now, let's go ahead and go into earnings. This is a little bit more fun. What is the earnings that you're making on your funnel? So this is the same type of stats. We're just going to work them backwards from revenue. So instead of going costs and be like, oh, yeah, I'm spending so much money, how much are you making? This is where you can be like, oh, that's bigger. We're in a good space. We're good. This is why numbers are important. Okay, so here we go. The first one is EPM. Now, I don't see anyone really using this, but I'm just going to throw it out there. That's your earnings per 1 million impressions, or revenue that you've made per 1,000 eyes that saw the ad. Way back to the ad that saw the ad. Next, you have earning per click. That's your total revenue divided by the clicks. You have earnings per lead, which is your total revenue divided by all of your leads, everyone who's opted in. Then the last one is your earnings per acquisition, or your earning per sale. All your earnings divided by the number of sales you have made. Does that make sense so far? The next two are really basic, just rates. So you need to understand how many people clicked on the page versus actually took the action. The action you usually want is either a lead or a sale. So the first one is opt-in rate. How many people actually opted in? So it's how many opt-ins, how many leads divided by total visitors. As you know, on average, how many people are going to convert into a lead so you can email market them or whatever you're going to do next, okay? Same with sales. Sales divided by total visitors equals your sales rate. Those numbers are important to know. So I know I'm an analyst and this is like my lifeblood, but just understand these numbers are going to be important as you move forward. The last three numbers are more like big numbers. So average cart value, ACV, is important. That is the total revenue someone has made in one sitting with you, okay? And one sitting with you, or in one sales process, what is that total revenue? Because you could upsell them and downsell them. We'll show you funnel examples. How is that total revenue divided by the number of initial sales? And that's different than your earning per sale, because once again, earning per sale is just that one capture, that one moment when they bought. Average cart value is now they've gone through your whole process, the whole sales process in that system. How much money did they make with all the other offers that you may provide? This is gold. This is why funnels work. Average cart value. Okay, we'll show you examples of that in the unboxing funnel. Just hold on, I'll show you that. The next one is ROI. This shouldn't be too difficult. This is your return on investment. So how much did you invest? Or how much did you make in total revenue at the end of the day, and divide that by how much you spent on ads. That is your ROI. So that will tell you how much money is your money making. Are you printing money or are you losing money? That's like number one metric you're gonna really want to know. The last piece is COGS. Now, this is more advanced. You may not need to know this, but this is your cost of goods sold. So if you're selling a book or if you're selling a supplement, you need to know that what you're actually selling has costs. There's costs for printing the thing, for shipping the thing, for labeling the thing, for having somebody touch it and move it. What are all the costs associated with that? So that we can decide, is this funnel truly 100% ROI positive? Or is it maybe a little bit more complicated than that? That's what we're gonna go into. Holy cow, right? Okay, so that's like its own little mini course. If that made sense or if that's helpful for you, make sure to like the video. Comment down below whether or not this is new or whether or not this is something you've known before or if this is an aha moment. Let me know so I can give you better content as we move forward. Let me know where you're at and I can meet you better. Cool? Let's keep going. We're gonna actually start jumping through the funnels, okay? So if you need to review this, go back and watch. The pieces that are really powerful here are understanding how these metrics work inside of your system. So how does it work inside of your email when you're sending out emails? How does it work inside of your ads? What numbers should you be expecting? So let's go through that really quick. So under ads and emails, you're going to see we've highlighted specifically Facebook, Instagram, Google, YouTube ads. You have others that you could be doing, and they all lead towards your funnel. Okay, so your opt-in page, your whatever funnel that's going to be. So the numbers you should be expecting vary by niche. Okay, so it's going to change from niche to niche. So don't hold me to this. Like there are places where it'll cost more, it'll cost less. That's why there's a range. All right, so your cost per click on your ads. If you're running ads, what should your cost per click be? I would suggest somewhere between 10 cents up to $2.50. That's expensive. $2.50 is expensive, but if you're running a webinar or a high ticket application funnel, that's more than accepted, all right? So cost per click is somewhere in that range. A good number, 50 cents is good to shoot for on Facebook, all right? If you're in Google, it's gonna change, it's gonna vary. Once again, your cost per click may go directly in relation to the quality of that click. So a lower cost does not always mean it's better. So make sure you're hitting the right audience with the right message. It's going to be important. The next piece is the click-through rate. We went through this. This is how many people saw and then clicked. That's just that mathematics. So you want somewhere around a 2 to 3%. If it's below 2%, especially on Facebook, you're doing something wrong and you need to adjust that. If you're on Google, that needs to be a lot higher if you're doing Google ads. Okay, YouTube ads, pretty similar. All right, so that's just the ad space, just general numbers you should know. Let's get into your email because you may have an email list you may be sending to. How do you know if your open rate is good and your click-through rate? Let's check that out. So when you send out an email, you have an email open rate. That email open rate is going to tell you how many people opened divided by the total people who actually got the email. That is important to know because that tells you how healthy your list is. You want that to be around 20%. Now, you'll see that degrade if you get above 10,000 people on your list. It's just the nature of the beast, but at the same time, the more you can fight to keep it up, build that relationship, keep that value high, not constantly selling them, the better that's going to be for you. All right, so that's the open rate. And once again, the click-through rate, if you have a link in that email, somewhere around 2 to 3% is really good for a click-through rate. All right, so that's your average numbers that you should be expecting and looking at and benchmarking for your ads and your emails. Let's get into some funnels. Funnel number 1, lead generation funnels. These are how you capture a lead. This is how you get somebody on your list. Thus, the goal is in orange right here. Capture a lead between the opt-in and the thank you page, all right? So everything that's in yellow, you can edit. If you have downloaded this, if you stay till the end and you got the link, this is what you can do. You can edit anything in yellow. Don't touch anything else. In the yellow, you're good. Okay, so check this out. If I spent $2,500 in a month and I got 500 people to my page, we have our cost and our clicks. So our cost per click is automatically calculated for you with the benchmark over here. So you can actually pop in your real numbers here. And it says it's 50 cents per click. That's good. Okay, now what if I spent $5,000? That will tell me that, you know what, it was more like $1 per click. It's kind of expensive. All right, let's go back to 2,500. Now, if I got 1,000 leads, that means 1,000 out of 5,000 is 20% opt-in rate. 20% of the people who saw my page actually put in their details. That's good. You can get that higher. You can get that higher. You see people getting it to 30, 50, sometimes above 60% if it's really hot audience, like they are absolutely in desire of what you are offering and they know you. You can do that, but I don't recommend pushing for that. Try to break the 20% mark at first, all right? And then we can do the cost per lead because we have the total leads. So our cost per lead is $2.50. That means going forward, I can kind of give a rough average that my cost per lead is going to be, if nothing else changes, $2.50. I can make business decisions based on that. Okay, does that make sense? This is your basic front-end lead funnel. It's just how it works. All right, very simple. You're not trying to sell anything. You're just trying to get their information and then move them forward. Does that make sense? If that makes sense to you, make sure you like the video. Make sure to comment down below. Tell me what the ahas were. Do the numbers actually make sense, or did you already know that? Just let me know in the comments. I'd appreciate that so that way I know what kind of content I can build for you in the future. Let me know. Let's keep going. The next is unboxing funnels. Unboxing funnels are kind of my favorite. There's so many numbers to play with here and so many ways to structure this. Now, this could be e-commerce. It could be physical products, digital products. It could be all information products. It could be supplements. Okay, it kind of depends on what you want to put in there. If I were to spend about $3,000 and I got 5,000 people who opted in, that's going to lead us to a cost per click. It's already pre-done for you. A cost per click of 60 cents. Now, once again, we want that to be somewhere between around 50 cents, but somewhere below 250 for sure. Okay, especially for this funnel. You can play with these numbers and go, ooh, that broke. Once again, only play with the yellow cells. All right. Now, with this particular funnel, all the stats that you want on this, which is a two-step order form at the front end, you're going to want your opt-in rate to be about 2%. 2% of all visitors. So you have 10% of all visitors opt in, 2% actually buy. Now, the actual average is somewhere between 1 and 5%. So you want to play within there. That gives you a cost per sale of about $30. That's probably just below the average. If you actually get this machine working, you can get it around 32, maybe 28. But that's about average, and that's outside of supplements. That's more just in general, like a cheap product that's something like $7.99. So we got 100 sales for $7.99. Now, on your two-step order form, there's usually this thing called an order bump. You can see the examples down below in what we've gone through. That order bump has a take rate. There are people who want to buy that, so there's a sales rate for that. Well, what is the bump rate? Bump rate is usually about 20%. I've heard people say 30%. I'm going to play with 15. I'm just going to keep it safe. Maybe it's not a super attractive offer. We're going to say 15%. That means out of that 100 people, I got 15 sales. Product's going to be somewhere between $27 and $37. Okay, so at that point, we're making money. Things are working. Now they're going to go into an upsell, a downsell, and then one last upsell. So we have the stats here, upsell, downsell, upsell. Now you can just put in your numbers here. It'll do all the stats for you. So it'll tell you what your opt-in upsell rate is. For upsell number 1, it'll tell you what your downsell rate was and your upsell rate. Now, upsells and downsells play somewhere between 3% and 15%. If you get it right, you can get like a 20% I've done that. I think we hit like 22%, which is beautiful, but it doesn't stick around. So make sure that you hit the right numbers and play with the price points here. Okay, so the first product, usually somewhere like 47 to 97, usually doesn't break above that. The downsell either cuts that offer in half with like 2 payments, or it just says, you know what, we'll take this out and we'll give you it at like 2/3 of the price. A couple different things you can do there, but it's the same offer with either a couple things taken away or it's like a 2-payment option. The next piece is your upsell. This last upsell is a little bit more expensive. You can break above the 100 mark. This is all according to your niche. Like some niches, you can't do this, all right? With info products, you absolutely can. E-commerce, a little bit difficult, okay? I'd keep everything just below $100 on e-commerce for everything. And then for the upsell, 197 is pretty good for an information product. So we can see right here what our take rate was. Once again, somewhere between 3 and 5%. Those numbers decrease as you add on more upsells. That's the magic number of upsells. I would not play with anything more. 2 upsells, 1 downsell, 1 order bump. It's proven to work. I don't have to tell you why, it just works, okay? At that point, we've collected in total $3,300. Now, how much did we spend? $3,000. So if you come over here, we'll see when somebody came and bought, it cost $30 to get them to buy. But because of all of these upsells, our average cart value is $33. So for everyone who came in, we make an average of $33. So we're good, we're making money. For every dollar we put in, we're making $1.10 out. That's ROI. Now if you come over to the right, we've got our total revenue in here, and as well as our earning per click, earning per lead, earning per acquisition, okay? That is the unboxing funnel. Holy funnel types, we have more that we need to go through. What funnel type are you using? What are you trying to scale with right now? Are you in e-commerce? Are you in information products? What are you doing? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll answer every single comment. Like the video. Let's keep going. We've got more funnels to go over. Video sales funnels. Now, video sales funnels are much simpler. You can have this be on 1 page. You can have it be on 2 pages where you have the sales video, they go to the next page and it's the order form. Kind of doesn't really matter. It depends on what's working in your niche. Know what's working in your niche. We have examples of this funnel as well below, so feel free to go and check those out. Now, you have an ad spend, for example, of about $3,000 for this. So we're gonna actually edit that because it's a yellow tab or yellow cell. I'm able to change it. Let's change it to 3,500. Let's just play with numbers really quick. At that point, I've gotten about 2,400 people to my page. Pretty good. My cost per click, $1.46. Why is it so high? Because often for these ads, you're trying to sell something directly. You're not leading with something super sexy or attractive. This is a shorter sales process, which means all the costs are going to get higher. Okay, so let's say that out of those 2,400 visits, we get 25 sales. That's about normal for this funnel. So once again, cost per click, we'd like to get it somewhere around 50 cents, 10 cents to 250, pretty good. You don't want it above 250. Their sales rate on this type of funnel is somewhere between 1% and 3%. Now this type of funnel is really good if the audience knows you. If they don't know you, it's much more complicated, okay? You have to do a lot of selling, okay? Software works really good on this, but otherwise, they better know, like, and trust you already, okay? Now, that means that your cost per acquisition, your cost per sale, is gonna be somewhere around $140 based on what we just did. Now, I can change the product, like maybe this is only like a $67 product, and it's just one time. If it's $67 and our sales rate stays that way, we only get 25, look what happened to our ROI. Net revenue went down. Okay, average cart value is only 67 because it's the only product we're offering. So this needs to be at least somewhere around 127. Let's keep playing with this, 147. There. If it's 147 and we keep those sales rates, it's good. Now these are all just fuzzy numbers. The real way to do it, launch, put in your numbers, you can adjust from there. Next funnel. Let's go through webinar. Now we have 2 different kinds of webinar. We have a live webinar and an auto webinar, okay? Those statistics change a little bit. So really quick, just to go over the basics, still gonna do cost per click. 50 cents is great, but for a live webinar, that goes up. It goes up. Your cost per lead is going to go up quite a bit, all right? So between 10 cents and 250 is all right. you want to get an opt-in rate of about 20%. And then your cost per lead, it can go up to $18 and it can go around $250. It can go lower. You can do it, but $750, probably decent. It'd be nice to get it lower, but $750 is pretty good. Now, how many people are actually going to show up to your webinar? Because you have people jump into your webinar, they become a lead, and then you have to remind them to come on the day that you actually do it. You're not going to do it every single day and every single moment that they're hopping on, so you have to remind them. That means a certain amount of people just aren't going to show up. Honestly, good show up rate is between 10 to 20%. I've broken the 20% mark, but there's a lot of reminders and it has to be a very attractive offer. Okay, then it works. All right. So optimize that show rate by making that very attractive. Now, what is the buy rate? Buy rate is somewhere around 10% if you do a really good job. You follow a good script, you are engaging, if you're giving really good value, that works. Okay, but it's not a guarantee. None of these are guarantees. All right, cost per acquisition, probably about $75. Okay, average cart value is about 99, so we're good to go. So I can change all these numbers, put it in my own numbers, and it will spit out the new one. So if we spent 10 grand instead, we are like net revenue, our net revenue is negative 30 bucks. Okay, so we're going to need to work on maybe our show up rate. Maybe we'll up that just a little bit so more people show up. Doing a little bit better. Okay, 15 sales maybe instead of the 10. We're good to go. All right, so just make sure to optimize and adjust. This becomes a tool for you to look at what's worked in the past, what isn't working currently, and how to adjust. Maybe you just make those 3 tweaks and you're good to go. Now, if you're going to do an auto webinar, the numbers change because people are watching automatically. It is pushed instantly. And so it's a different style of everything. So you have your cost per click still about the same. Okay, your opt-in rate is going to be about the same. And then your cost per lead, it can be similar. It can actually go down just a little bit because they're not going for a specific date. So let's go ahead and say that we get a bit more leads in this. Let's say we get 1,500 leads. Whoa, not 15,000. Okay. So our cost per lead is about $5. Cool. The show rate is about 50%. Now, 50% to 80% is good for an automated webinar because usually there's this page right here on the thank you page where they're just waiting and they're just kind of waiting to get access. There's a little countdown timer. It's gonna, a couple different variations you can do on this. I would suggest looking at the Dan Henry automated one. He tested it. It works really well and it cuts that number out. So it's automatically 100%. And it works better. So check out that hack when you're done with this. All right, now that's in the description below. Now, how many people are gonna buy? Usually between 1% and 5%. You see that cut? Because you are not live, people there's literally a feeling that's lost. You can tell, and it becomes well, I guess or maybe. So unless the offer is really good and it's totally proven with live, when you turn it to auto, may not work as well. So we want to make sure that you get that as high as possible in your live before you go auto. Or if you go auto, that's fine. Come in here, look at the numbers, adjust. Okay. And then you have your cost per acquisition, about $10 to get a sale. That's not realistic. That's not realistic at all. What is that number? Oh, I see. I calculated that wrong. See, there we go. So our cost per acquisition is $395. That's a little bit more normal. $395 to make a lead. And then our ROI is 1.53, which means every time I put in $1, I make $2.53. I add on that 153. So this is a moneymaker. This works. This is why webinars are attractive. If you get the numbers right, this can work. Does that make sense? All right. Any ahas yet? Have you gone, oh my gosh, this actually works? If that's been you, go and comment below and just tell me, Ben, this is helpful. Like, okay, I finally get what's going on here. Let me know. Let's keep going on. The second to the last funnel is the product launch funnel. Now, these numbers aren't provided many places, so I had to go off my own, like what I've seen and what I've heard people say in passing in webinars and things like that. So these numbers aren't precise, but they are a good gauge just to get you started. So once again, you can put in all your numbers in yellow and it will automatically spit out all the numbers for you. Your cost per click, you want it to be somewhere around 50 cents, but it's probably gonna be It's going to vary, okay? Your 20% opt-in rate stays about the same. You can get it up if this is very attractive, if you're proving that you're going to give a lot of bonuses for every single day that this training happens, because it's a 4-day training. These are not simple funnels, okay? And I've seen them launch live. That's kind of where I'm playing with these numbers. The cost per lead is going to be, it's going to range. You can do 250. 250 and under would be amazing. But usually it's going to be 250, and you shouldn't hit 18 for this one. That's kind of a high estimate. All right. And the pitch rate, how many people are actually going to view the pitch? Because here's the thing. You get somebody who opts in and they go to a thank you page, and then you have to send them email reminders for day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. That all depends on your email open rate. It all depends on people's schedule. So by the time you actually offer the product, which is usually on day 4, how many people actually saw it? I think that number is somewhere close to around 20 to 30%, honestly, if not lower, but I'm going to go with 38% here, just kind of give it a number in the air. So you want to go somewhere between 20 to 50 would be great, but that can vary quite a bit. Now your buy rate is going to be somewhere between 3 and 10. If you got 3%, that would be really good in and of itself. So don't shoot for the moon here. Just play with the numbers, all right? Do it, put it in, play with the numbers, okay? Then your cost per acquisition, the cost to get a sale, around $375. So that means if you put in a whole bunch of money, this would work. And then, this all depends on all your numbers inside of here, but average cart value is gonna be the same. If I put 7,500 in here, I make about 19 grand. I'm walking away with 12,000 in net revenue. This works. It's a lot of work. There are a lot of videos. There's a lot of strategy behind it, but this is a lot of fun. Okay, so there are not a lot of examples of this funnel down below, but we'll work on finding those for you. So check the description just to be safe. The last funnel that we're going to go over is the high ticket funnel. So this is like something you're selling for $6,000, $25,000 and up. Okay, this is like a coaching program. This is like a mastermind group, something of that nature. Okay, this is, or like done with you kind of a service. This is a little more expensive, and because of that, it's an application process. So when they come in, they opt in, they apply, and after applying, they give you homework. You have to do certain things. So there's a whole application form, not just the opt-in. There's a whole bunch of steps. So let's go through what these numbers should be. Now, a lot of these numbers are kind of mystical. Okay, you don't know them. What you do know is, in general, what is your cost for that lead? Cost for that acquisition. How does that cost to get somebody ready to jump on the phone? They didn't just opt in, they filled out the full application. So the cost per application is somewhere around $100. That's about normal. Okay, everything else is going to be about there. So you have a couple things that people don't get in here. So usually you're going to sell these people on the phone. How many people are going to answer this phone call? Based on that, how many people that you get on the phone are actually closable, are actually interested in being closed, and you can actually close this thing. Okay, you have to have a good salesperson. Really helps. Okay, but if you can do all of that right, if you can get a good salesperson and you can get these people on the phone and they are hungry, specific strategies that work with this funnel. You can have product that's 7,500. You can have products that are 10,000, 25,000. You just have to be able to prove that you can provide this value at a high level. Otherwise, your cake is fully cooked. You have to be very careful. But if you can get this right, the ROI is spectacular. It's spectacular, but you have to get the value right. And if you get the value proposition right, this works. It's a machine that's really nice, but not a lot of people can guarantee a result, provide such a high ticket result. Plus you need sales people who are really good at what they do. A lot of us who came online do it because we don't like talking to people. So that's kind of a problem. So we need to make sure that you have all the right pieces inside of there. And so the funnel of choice, not so much this one, but definitely one of the others. And there are examples of high ticket funnels down below. All right, that is 7 different funnels plus strategies on ads and emails and all the numbers. How do you get this baby? How do you get this template? Let me show you how really quick. What you're gonna do is go down into the description and you're going to find a specific link there. That link is gonna take you to this page where you're gonna be able to put in your name and your email, and we're going to email this to you directly. So you're gonna have all of this thing that will calculate your analytics for you, that will give you the benchmarks of what you need going forward. So put in your email and I promise I will treat you appropriately. I'm not a spammer. I give value, case in point. And just something really cool for those of you who are advanced, there is the ability in all of these to put in your COGS. So you can put in your cost of goods sold over here. You can be like, oh, you know, I charge $7,500 for this, but the COGS are more like, you know, it's actually cost $4,500 to actually deliver because I bring on so many people to help. Well, do you still have an ROI? Yes. How much are you taking home? Okay. And then you can, or how much do you have to spend for ads, for your ad manager, for things like that? You have that all the way throughout. You have all of the COGS in here. So that way you can work this out backwards as best for you. So you can actually understand what your net revenue looks like. Just really cool for those of you who are advanced. You're going to like this one. If this helped you at all, make sure to like the video, subscribe, ring that bell. You're going to want to ring the bell because we have tons of value still coming out. And then share this with a friend. If you know somebody who's like, you know, I just don't get this. If this has been helpful for you at all, share it out. Let people know this can make sense and there are tools that are available to help you. They're not all paid. People are giving them out in order to help you succeed. I look forward to seeing your success.